And speaking of that, wasn't that guy supposed to play Blade, and they completely scrapped it?
Yeah.
What's going on? You know what? See, this is why Marvel's like,
That would be a crazy Blade.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
And
Speaking
then
of,
I heard what
where the fuck
I heard
is
what
Blade?
I heard what they wanted to do. They're like, oh, we're actually gonna make it about his daughter. Nobody wants to fucking see that. This is the type of bullshit I'm talking about, bro. Hey, stop turning our fucking characters gay. Stop turning them into a girl. Stop turning them into this. Just just create your own character, bro. I'll be the bad guy.
Yes,
Fuck it.
He's the bad guy.
Isn't that a Billie Eilish song? I don't know.
It is.
Okay.
I never heard of her.
Well, to be fair, until the latest season of White Lotus came out, I didn't know who Lisa was either. So I get it.
Listen, I'm not opposed to some changes, but doing it for a gimmick never works out. And when you're looking for quality.
To be fair, and I will say one thing, I do agree with Kelly in the sense that I really wish they would come up with new heroes for these people. Wow, that didn't turn out right at all. Jesus Christ.
No.
I really wish.
What do you mean these people?
Jesus Christ.
What do you mean,
yeah, that
people?
was bad. The point is Shang-Chi, Black Panther, Luke Cage, characters like that, and not just putting like a black girl from Chicago in Iron Man suit and calling her
like
the new
Ironheart.
Man.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was saying.
It's full disclosure. Obviously, man, I don't have a problem with anybody. It's their, choice and decision. I'm just saying, like, I'm gonna echo what you're saying is, hey, create your own create your own characters, man. You know what I mean? Like, why do people get paid to create if they can't even come up with new characters that are compelling? And
from what I understand, they have tried this in the past, and the issue is that they just don't ever really seem to catch on. I don't know why, but
why is that? Maybe because those people aren't actually reading the comic.
I don't know.
Or buying the comic, or just like the WNBA. And this is the only sports thing I'm going to bring up here. Nobody buys the tickets. They want to get paid more, but nobody buys tickets. Every girl should go buy that. That whole arena should be sold out from girls.
Listen. They released Marvels, okay? Yeah. It was like over 70 or like 90 ballpark, and I can't remember the exact number, but it was an astronomical number of ticket buyers were men. So you made a movie for women, and the women didn't show up. So they're begging, they're saying, well, we want women on screen. Dude, are they? Are they though? Because they're not going to see it. But that's the narrative that they say when they're like, when people complain and be like, well, why are you just making this, woman character of Iron Man? Or why are we making She-Hulk? Like, why? And they say, well, because women want to be seen on screen too. Do they? Because they're not buying it. And it's like, you have to target. There's nothing wrong with pushing these characters. They're in the comic books for a reason. They're successful in the comic books. But there's a lot of women readers in the comic books. They sell. Are there women people going to watch Marvel movies? The stats say no. So why are you turning on most of your fan base and giving them something that they don't see themselves in? Not that it's like, oh, I'm attacking you and turning them on. That was a bad way of saying it. But like, clearly your viewership is men. Make a movie for men. There's nothing wrong with that. You're making a consumer product. If 70% of your buyers were women, then absolutely make a movie for women.
And Jack, my point is like even more simplified is just like, hey, give me the characters I love and grew up with and read. Like, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with me wanting just the regular character? I mean, you know what's crazy about comic book movies? You have the source material. You literally have the script already. And I get it. Change it a little bit, artistic view. I'm all for it. But you don't have to go you go too far, man,
Yeah.
to where it's not even my character anymore. Why am I even watching it? You're slapping a Spider-Man name on it, or slapping a Batman name on it, or whatever, add your, name to it,
Yeah.
just for me to buy the ticket, and it's a completely, different movie.
It's not even the character I'm expecting because you're
Yeah.
trying to morph two things to like gimmick
Yeah.
it and it Trey made a good point. Shang-Chi and stuff. It's like, okay, we look at all the movies in the past two saga or phases, right, of this saga. Which movies did I like the best? Shang-Chi. New character. New character was one of my favorites. Some people didn't like Eternals. But guess what? Even though I did like that movie, even if it was ass, I really respect them going for that. You know?
Yeah,
And
they did a speedster in that movie better than DC ever did.
right. Good things come of it.
Straight up.
And you can take those good things and make better things out of it. Like there's your blueprint for when you put X-Men on screen. You know what I'm saying? Like there's positivities there. And if you're speaking of, if you're looking for ways to do DEI, put the fucking X-Men on the goddamn screen already. They're literally formed around that ideology. Like, what are you doing?
So going backwards a little, I do want to like kind of say kind of one thing about all this. Like, I don't know the actual audience statistics for things like Captain Marvel or the Black Widow movie or anything like that. I could look it up. I don't feel like it, honestly, because like
We don't need exact stats right now.
But it is worth noting that at the end of the day, Captain Marvel, the first one, was a massive hit in the United States, so that does kind of and Wonder Woman was also a pretty big one as well the year before. So there is absolutely a market for for like comic book characters
for women heroes
women in the lead. Yes,
but here's what I'll say about those characters. Here's the thing: when you take a look at those characters, you say, "Wow, these are really good characters, and we're making a really good movie." But then you look at other shows, and you're like, "Did they make this because it was a good character, or did they just try to make something because it ticked that box?" When you're making something for box ticking, it doesn't turn out like She-Hulk was. Even though I know you liked it, Trey, a lot of people hated it, and a lot of people hated it because there wasn't really anything compelling to why they even made it.
So to Trey's point, though, those two movies you named, those were already women characters in the comics. There's nothing they had to change with that. Okay. And then also even She-Hulk. She-Hulk is such an important character in the comics. I was upset
how they didn't do right. Yeah,
how they didn't do her right, and they turned it into Megan Thee Stallion.
Why are you not making She-Hulk to honor She-Hulk? It really felt like they were just like, we're gonna show you a female thing.
From what I understand, though, She-Hulk is kind of a joke, though. Even in the comics itself, it's like she does a lot of Deadpool shit.
But in that show, though,
I thought the finale was great. Where with the fourth wall breaking part, she literally broke the global.
I just felt like when I watched that show, it wasn't Deadpool. It was like if they did it if they owned it, if they made it like that, it'd have been great. The problem is they wrote it like they were trying to make her serious, but didn't give you anything compelling. And then also tried to slap some things in there. It was like, to me, I just felt like they didn't know what they wanted to do with it. And to me, I feel like there's a pattern in the MCU for these past two phases of projects that don't know where they're going, but yet coincidentally check that DEI box. So my question is, are they making them to check a box and that's why there's no passion? Or is there just a passion issue in the MCU because they're pumping out projects just for the sake of it, and it's completely unrelated to DEI? I don't know.
I'm gonna stop you right there, Jack. It's the latter. It really is. It's definitely the latter. If you look
probably
at
both, to be honest.
Well, no, it's definitely the latter because there have been going back to She-Hulk. If you want an idea, they did not originally in the scripts for that show. She didn't transform at all. So there's and Captain America: New World Order. Is it New World Order or what is it? Brave New World, whatever.
Brave New World.
Yeah, that movie went through extensive reshoots and rewrites. Like the guy who plays Gus in Breaking Bad, for example, he's like one of the antagonists in that movie.
Yeah.
He wasn't even originally cast in that role. He was replaced. He replaced some other guy who I think is a wrestler or something, during reshoots. So there is definitely.
I definitely believe that you're right. That's the main issue. But here's where I come at it is, and I tell my kids and stuff like this. It's like, if you're having an issue, a clear issue, why are you adding to that issue? Why are you adding? Like, well, we can't write a good movie even when we're trying hard. So, but let's also try and do this DEI stuff. Well, let's also try and put all our movie out in the trailer and still have a good movie. It's like, keep it simple, boys.
If you really want to dive into that, what the lesson that was learned from something like, say, Black Panther is that diversity does sell.
It does. Yeah. But the thing is, Black Panther is a really, really, really good movie. Like
Black Panther is first off a badass character, popular as hell in the comics. You know,
but
I mean that's a 10 out of 10 movie though.
Yeah,
like
I'm probably going to go see that.
I'm probably one of 5 people in the world who didn't actually care for that movie all that much, but that had more to do with personal circumstances than the movie being objectively bad. But
but he wrote like 7 million things on it for a site, and he grew to hate it. So he got robbed. But the point being is like, okay, that was a good movie though. Captain Marvel was a really good movie. Wonder Woman was a good movie.
Well, that's why I'm saying though it probably has more to do with the fact that like a lot of the MCU projects are becoming increasingly more like product than they are art at this point, and that probably has a lot more to do with it than, say, some, for lack of better words, imaginary issue where people are thinking the problem is the fact that they have somebody in there who has a vagina or has a darker skin tone.
When really it's you need to own your shit. You need to have faith in it without showing the movie in the trailer. You need to have faith in your product without saying, let's just gender swap it and we'll be safe. You need to have faith in your product. Even that's why I respect the Eternals, because that's another movie where people were like, you're doing too much for different reasons, right? And
I liked it.
But me, I respect that, because it's like, well, that's one where it was like, yeah, it was doing too much, but they were going for it.
Mm-hmm.
They were owning it.
They were, yeah.
So in that, I can respect that a hell of a lot more than the other ones where it's just like a product. Because it was like, man, you could actually feel like they really wanted this to do something, So I did like it because of that, even though it definitely did it made no sense as to where they wanted it to go at all. But if you look at it as its own movie, it's pretty good.
So let's move on to another subject, and this is controversial.
So I think the final answer here was: is it a real issue? No. The real issue is
it's the fact it's the studio
do things
system
for the passion, not for the gimmick.
Mm-hmm. That's what I would go with.
Yeah. I said enough, so I had to just be quiet on the last 30 minutes of that.
So our next topic was speaking of Thunderbolts.
I still haven't seen it.
Thunderbolts? Was it?
Oh,
I haven't seen it yet, so I'm going to see it on Sunday, but I'm not sure yet.
Okay,
so this is a good example. Go see it, Thunderbolts, real quick. A good example of the last subject we just had, the Taskmaster. I mean, way to fuck a character.
Yeah. She was like one of the bad guys in